"You picked the wrong black woman to frame, Officer Sloan." The words hang in the air as Elise Johnson's body slams against the police cruiser. Her briefcase explodes on impact, legal papers dancing across the pavement. Officer Derek Sloan leans in, his breath hot on her neck. "Remember me?" Elise meets his gaze. No fear, only calculation. Phones rise from the gathering crowd. Witnesses. Evidence. Sloan performs for his audience, roughly patting down the respected attorney while his partner shifts uneasily. "Law degree won't save you now, counselor," Sloan announces, voice carrying for the cameras. Elise remains silent. Her dignity infuriates him more than resistance ever could. He stomps deliberately on her law license, then grinds his heel into a fallen photograph. A young man in graduation regalia smiles up from beneath his boot. Officer Sloan's body camera dies, conveniently. As steel bites into her wrists, Elise whispers, 3 years, 2 months, 4 days. 3 years earlier. The courtroom erupts as the jury forewoman stands. Not guilty. Marcus Johnson, a 23-year-old pre-law student at Howard University, collapses into his sister's arms. Elise Johnson, lead defense attorney, holds her younger brother as he sobs against her shoulder. Across the room, Officer Derek Sloan clenches his jaw until a vein pulses at his temple. The evidence clearly shows Officer Sloan falsified his report. Elise addresses waiting reporters outside. The body cam footage directly contradicts his testimony. My brother was simply walking home from the library. The press devours her words. Cameras flash. Headlines emerge within hours. Officer suspended after falsified arrest. Police brutality case exposes departmental failures. Sloan watches from his patrol car across the street. His knuckles whiten around the steering wheel. "You'll regret this," he mutters to her image on his dashboard screen. His partner glances over. "Let it go, man, not worth your career. The hospital room beeps with mechanical precision 3 weeks later. Marcus lies unconscious, tubes snaking from his body. "Complications from injuries sustained during arrest," the doctor explains. Injuries that weren't in the official report. Elise sits motionless beside her brother's bed. She hasn't slept in days. Her legal pad fills with notes, diagrams, names. A plan taking shape. Present day. Officer Sloan's partner, Rodriguez, watches him book Elise Johnson with unusual personal attention. "You know her?" Rodriguez asks, noting Sloan's intensity. "Just another cop-hater who needs to learn respect," Sloan replies. But his eyes tell a different story. Vendetta. Obsession. In Sloan's locker, hidden behind his spare uniform, a newspaper clipping yellows with age. The obituary for Marcus Johnson, dead at 23 from cerebral hemorrhage due to traumatic injury. The hospital monitors flatline 3 months after the trial. Officer Sloan keeps the newspaper clipping about Marcus Johnson's death in his locker. The calendar in Elise's office marks today's date with a single word. Beginning. The booking room lights flicker harsh fluorescence across Elise Johnson's composed face. Officer Sloan slams her belongings onto the metal processing table. "Empty your pockets," he commands, louder than necessary. Elise complies silently. Watch, keys, wallet, phone. Full legal name? Elise Michaela Johnson, attorney at law. Her voice remains steady, professional. Sloan snorts. Not for long. The flash of the booking camera catches the slight curl at the edge of her lips. Not quite a smile. Something more dangerous. Captain Reynolds enters, glancing between them. "Sloan, what's the charge?" "Drug possession, resisting arrest, assaulting an officer." Sloan rattles off without looking up. Reynolds studies Elise. Recognition dawns in his eyes. "Wait, aren't you—" "The lawyer from the Marcus Johnson case," Elise finishes for him. "Yes." Reynolds' gaze shifts to Sloan, who intensifies his focus on the paperwork. "My office. Now!" The security camera in the corner captures their conversation behind glass walls, Reynolds gesturing sharply, Sloane's defensive posture, Reynolds pointing toward Elise. "This looks personal," Reynolds says, loud enough for the microphone to catch. "She had drugs in her car, cut and dried." Sloane's voice rises with defensive energy. "And the body camera footage?" "Technical malfunction." Reynolds' discomfort radiates through his stiff shoulders. "I don't need another PR nightmare, Sloane." Memory flickers through Elise's mind as she watches their exchange. Marcus sitting in this same room 3 years ago. Same charges, same officer, same malfunctioning camera. "Processing continues," Officer Rodriguez announces, guiding Elise to fingerprinting. Black ink stains her fingertips. The same procedure her brother endured. Each step familiar from case files she's memorized, studied, mapped. Across town, ADA Brian Miller receives the arrest notification on his phone. "Elise Johnson?" He straightens in his chair. "The civil rights attorney?" His assistant nods. "Officer Sloane made the arrest an hour ago." Miller's ambitious smile spreads slowly. "Perfect. Time to make an example of these cop-hating lawyers." Back at the station, Sloane escorts Elise to a holding cell. The corridor stretches empty except for a janitor mopping the far end. "Your brother cried, you know," Sloane whispers, close to her ear. "Begged me to stop." Elise's step falters for the first time, a microscopic break in her composure. Sloane smiles. "There it is. You're not so tough." The cell door clangs shut. Elise sits on the metal bench, eyes closed, breathing controlled. When they open, something has changed, hardened, focused. The overhead camera captures everything but cannot see the small device activated in her bra, recording, capturing Sloane's whispered confession. 30 minutes later, Sloane returns to the evidence room. The login system records his badge access at 10:42 p.m. He checks the corridor. Empty. Inside, he removes a small bag from his pocket, plants it among Elise's confiscated belongings. Prescription pills. The same type he planted on Marcus 3 years ago. The ceiling camera captures it all. Captain Reynolds sits at his desk, reviewing the Marcus Johnson case file he's pulled from archives. His computer screen shows a search query. Officer Derek Sloane excessive force complaints. The results, 14 incidents, 7 settlements, 3 pending cases. Reynolds rubs his temples. The clock reads 11:17 p.m. In the holding cell, Elise closes her eyes. Not to sleep, to calculate. The plan she's crafted for 1,159 days unfolds exactly as projected. 1 allowed phone call, not to a lawyer or family member, but to a burner phone number she's memorized. "It's begun," she says simply when the line connects. "Activate protocol, Marcus." The voice on the other end replies, "Understood. All watchers in position." Sloane returns to the booking desk, evidence bag sealed and logged. He doesn't notice Rodriguez watching him with narrowed eyes. "Drug analysis rush requested," Sloane tells the evidence clerk. "Need results for arraignment tomorrow." The clerk nods, signs the form. Timestamp, 11:43 p.m. Digital records will later show the actual bag was sealed at 10:47 p.m., a 6-minute discrepancy that will matter enormously. ADA Miller arrives at the station near midnight, an unusual hour for a prosecutor to appear. He requests the case file personally. "Make sure the charges stick," he tells Sloane in the corridor. "This one's high profile. Career maker." "Don't worry," Sloane grins. "She's going down hard." Neither notices the night janitor's mop stopping near their conversation. The worker's blank expression betrays nothing as he listens. In Elise's law office across town, her paralegal Sarah works frantically, pulling files from a secured cabinet labeled Insurance. Inside, 3 years of surveillance on Officer Derek Sloane. Work schedules, traffic stops, arrest patterns, financial records. Sarah's phone pings with the coded message from the burner phone. She begins transmitting files to encrypted cloud storage. Backup systems activate automatically. At the station, Elise sits perfectly still in her cell. 3 other women share the space. One recognizes her. "You're that lawyer, the one who got charges dropped for my cousin." Elise nods slightly. "What you in for?" "Being exactly where I need to be." The evidence bag contains the same type of drugs Sloan planted on Marcus 3 years ago. Captain Reynolds' eyes linger on the security camera in the corner. Elise's one allowed phone call isn't to a lawyer or family member. It's to a burner phone number she's memorized. Night deepens in the holding cell. Fluorescent lights never dim, casting harsh shadows across concrete walls. Sleep eludes the detained women. All except Elise. Her eyes close not in surrender to exhaustion, but in focused recollection. Marcus's case replays in her mind, each detail matching Sloan's current playbook precisely. Traffic stop, aggressive escalation, planted evidence, fabricated resistance charge, manipulated timeline. She'd studied every case Sloan handled since Marcus's death. 23 arrests following identical patterns, 17 black defendants, 14 drug charges that wouldn't stick, 9 cases dismissed after discovery, but only after lives were already derailed. "You the lady from TV," whispers an older woman across the cell. "You got my neighbor's son out last year. Police brutality case." 2 other detainees shift closer, forming a protective semicircle around Elise. "They coming for you now," the woman continues. "Same thing they did to your brother." Elise's eyes open. His eyes. "You knew Marcus?" "Everybody in the community know what happened to that boy. Wasn't no accident." The cell block door clangs open at 2:17 a.m. Officer Sloan's boots echo against concrete. The night guard frowns. "Visitation hours are over, officer. Just need to ask the suspect some follow-up questions." Sloan flashes his badge. Authority, power. The guard hesitates, then nods. Sloan approaches Elise's cell. The other women retreat to their bunks but remain watchful. The ceiling camera's red light blinks steadily. "Comfortable, counselor?" Sloan's smile doesn't reach his eyes. "Bet this isn't what you're used to." Elise says nothing. "Your fancy degree can't help you here." He leans closer to the bars. "How's your brother, by the way? Oh wait, he can't answer, can he?" Something flickers across Elise's face. Not fear, something sharper, more dangerous. "My brother was 23, she says quietly. "Pre-law at Howard, Dean's List, future ahead of him. Guess that future got cut short." Sloan's smirk widens. Real tragedy. The cell block remains silent. Every ear strains to catch their exchange. Every eye witnesses. Memory pulls Elise back 3 years, the antiseptic hospital room. Marcus unconscious, breathing mechanically. The doctor's clinical explanation of brain hemorrhage. Second impact syndrome. The initial injury was survivable, the neurologist had explained. But he suffered a second trauma within hours. The combined effect was catastrophic. Hours after the arrest. Hours after the body cam malfunctioned. At Marcus's bedside, Elise had made her vow. Not vengeance. Justice. Methodical, legal, inescapable. Her network began forming the day of the funeral. Private investigators, tech specialists, former clients, courthouse insiders. A shadow system constructed for one purpose. "You made one mistake, Sloan," Elise says now, voice barely audible. His eyebrows raise, amused. "Yeah? What's that?" "You should have killed me, too." Sloan's smile falters. For the first time, uncertainty crosses his face. Empty threat from an empty cell. He steps back. "Enjoy county lockup, counselor. With your record, bail won't be an option." After he leaves, the older woman moves closer. "My son got a phone. They ain't found it yet in processing." She slips a small burner phone from her waistband. "Call whoever you need." Elise accepts the contraband device. 3 text messages sent within minutes. Digital breadcrumbs activating Phase 2. In her private office safe across town, the file labeled Sloan expands hourly. 3 years of surveillance. ATM cameras capturing his movements. Bar receipts. Traffic violations dismissed by friendly officers. Financial irregularities. A complete portrait of corruption. At his apartment, Sloan pours a third whiskey. The television replays footage of Elise's arrest. His phone rings. Captain Reynolds. "The commissioner's office is asking questions," Reynolds says without greeting. "This arrest better be clean." "It's solid." Sloan's voice carries forced confidence. "She had drugs, open and shut." "Nothing is ever open and shut with Elise Johnson." Reynolds pauses. "She's not some random perp, Sloan. She's connected. Powerful friends. She's just another criminal now." The call ends. Sloan stares at his reflection in the blank TV screen. Distorted. Fractured. The holding cell camera captures everything Sloan says about Marcus. The other detainees' phones, confiscated but not yet processed, recorded Sloan's confession through the bars. In her private office safe, a file labeled Sloan contains 3 years of surveillance photos. Morning shift change brings fresh personnel to the precinct. Officer Maya Rodriguez collects intake documents, her eyes lingering on Elise Johnson's booking photo. Recognition sparks. The attorney from the Marcus Johnson case. The one that resulted in Sloan's temporary suspension. The case Maya testified about in internal review. Maya's fingers trace the charges. Drugs. Resistance. Assault on an officer. Carbon copies of Marcus's charges 3 years prior. She remembers the video evidence that contradicted Sloan's account then. Remembers her own silence when asked about Sloan's behavior. The career-preserving lies she told to protect the Brotherhood. The guilt never faded. Maya pulls Elise's preliminary file, noticing immediate discrepancies. Timestamp anomalies, missing body cam footage, procedural shortcuts, the same pattern repeating. Down the corridor, Elise emerges from the holding cell for morning processing. Their eyes meet briefly. No recognition from Elise, but something else. Assessment. Measurement. "Processing for arraignment," the guard announces. Maya approaches. "I'll handle this one." Alone in the processing room, Maya speaks quietly while pretending to check paperwork. "I knew your brother." Elise remains expressionless. "I was there that night, after the camera." Maya swallows. After it stopped recording, the slightest tension appears in Elise's shoulders. "You saw?" "No, but I heard from the next room." Maya's voice drops further. "I said nothing then. I regret that every day. Regret doesn't bring Marcus back." "No." Maya slides a piece of paper across the desk. Case file information. Evidence log numbers. But maybe this helps. Across town at the district attorney's office, intern Zach Peters organizes case files for morning arraignments. ADA Brian Miller's excitement about the Johnson case strikes him as excessive. "Career-defining prosecution," Miller announces to the office. "Time to show these anti-police activists that actions have consequences." Zach pulls the file, curiosity piqued. He recognizes Elise Johnson's name from law school case studies. Civil rights victories. Police accountability work. Distinguished career. The arrest report seems oddly familiar. He searches the database, pulling Officer Sloan's previous cases. A pattern emerges. Identical language. Similar charges. Comparable circumstances. Most disturbing. Similar outcomes. Cases dismissed after initial hearings. But not before defendants spent days or weeks in jail. Not before reputations were damaged. Jobs lost. Lives disrupted. Zach prints the pattern analysis, tucks it into his bag. Not sure what to do with it yet, but certain it matters. At the courthouse, Judge Martinez reviews the morning docket. His clerk highlights Elise Johnson's name. "The civil rights attorney, what's she in for?" "Drug possession." Officer Sloan made the arrest. Martinez removes his glasses, pinching the bridge of his nose. Sloan again. You know him? All too well. Martinez pulls a file from his drawer, the Marcus Johnson case. Schedule this for my courtroom. First appearance. Captain Reynolds sits alone in his office, computer screen glowing with personnel files. 14 excessive force complaints against Sloan in 5 years. 7 resulted in settlements paid by the department. 3 still pending. A pattern no supervisor should ignore. A pattern Reynolds has ignored. Until now. He clicks further. Sloan's Academy records. Psychological evaluation flagging potential authority complex and retribution tendencies. Concerns dismissed by the previous captain. Reynolds's predecessor. Reynolds's mentor. The phone rings. Internal Affairs. Captain, we've received an anonymous package regarding Officer Sloan. Multiple incidents, documentation, witness statements. Reynolds's stomach tightens. When did this arrive? This morning, delivered to multiple recipients simultaneously. Commissioner's office, IA, 3 news outlets. The machinery of accountability grinding into motion. Wheels. Reynolds helped keep still for years now, turning inexorably. First arraignment, Courtroom 3B. Judge Martinez presiding. Elise stands composed in standard-issue jumpsuit. No attorney beside her. I'll represent myself, Your Honor. Ada Miller smirks at the prosecutor's table. The state requests remand without bail. The defendant poses a flight risk and danger to the community. On drug possession charges? Judge Martinez's skepticism cuts through the courtroom. And assaulting an officer, Miller adds quickly. Officer Sloan's statement indicates... Where is Officer Sloan? Martinez interrupts. Unavailable, Your Honor. But his written statement... I don't want his statement, I want him in my courtroom. Martinez's gavel cracks sharply. Bail is set at $5,000. Next appearance Friday morning. Officer Sloan will attend. Miller flushes with anger. Your Honor, this defendant has an impeccable record and deep community ties. Martinez's tone ends further discussion. Next case. In the gallery, reporter Jamie Watson scribbles notes. The Marcus Johnson case had launched her investigative career. Now, his sister faces strikingly similar charges from the same officer. Not coincidence. Pattern. Her phone buzzes with a text from an anonymous source. Evidence room. Discrepancies. Check the timestamps. The digital trail begins forming. Contradictions between Sloan's report and reality emerging like cracks in thin ice. Back at the precinct, Sloan paces anxiously. The arraignment didn't go as planned. Judge Martinez, the same judge from Marcus's case, ensuring Elise would make bail. The fix is in, he complains to Rodriguez. She says nothing, eyes averted. Her personnel file sits open on Captain Reynolds' desk across the building. 5 previous incident reports against Sloan that were buried. Her signature on false statements that protected him. The weight of complicity grows heavier each hour. Elise posts bail by noon. Her legal team waits outside the courthouse. Sarah Washington, her chief investigator, hands her a secure phone. Protocol Marcus activated fully. 12 witnesses confirmed. Digital evidence secured at 3 separate locations. Elise nods. And the recordings? Authenticated and time-stamped. Chain of custody documented. The machine she's built over 3 years operates with precision. Gears interlocking, timing exact, evidence accumulating, not revenge, justice. Inside the courthouse, intern Zach approaches Judge Martinez's clerk. I found something concerning in Officer Sloan's arrest patterns. The clerk hesitates, then gestures him inside the judge's chambers. Maya's personnel file contains 5 previous incident reports against Sloan that were buried. Judge Martinez's clerk quietly pulls Marcus Johnson's case file for review. The precinct's internal database shows every search Captain Reynolds conducts on Sloan's arrest history. 48 hours until the preliminary hearing. The countdown begins. Elise's home becomes command central. Sarah Washington coordinates a team of investigators, paralegals, and digital specialists. Evidence boards cover walls. Timeline charts track every movement, every call, every document. Officer Sloan accessed the evidence room at 10:42 p.m., Sarah reports, pointing to security logs. Evidence bag officially logged at 10:47, but timestamp on booking sheet shows 11:43. 1 hour difference, Elise notes. Same discrepancy in Marcus's case? Sarah nods. Pattern established across 17 cases. The digital wall clock counts down mercilessly. 47:22:16 remaining. At Internal Affairs, Officer Sarah Chen reviews the anonymous package delivered that morning. 15 cases. 15 nearly identical reports from Officer Sloan. 15 questionable arrests. Her phone rings. Captain Reynolds. "You received the package," he states rather than asks. "Yes. And you?" "This morning." A pause. "This goes beyond Sloan." "I know." Chen's voice hardens. Supervisory negligence. Possibly conspiracy. Reynolds' breathing changes. "I'm not proud of what I've ignored." "It's not about pride anymore, Captain. It's about accountability." The digital clock, 41:53:07 remaining. At the district attorney's office, ADA Miller pressures Sloan in a private conference room. "We need something stronger than possession. Judge Martinez isn't buying it." Sloan paces nervously. "Plant more evidence? Higher quantity?" Miller's expression sours. "Are you recording this conversation, officer? Because it sounds like you're suggesting evidence tampering." "You know what I mean. We need to strengthen the case." "Then find legal means to do so." Miller straightens his tie. "This case could make both our careers, or break them." Across town, intern Zach accesses the court's digital archives after hours. His security badge logs his entry, 8:17 p.m. Marcus Johnson's case file contains sealed medical examiner reports. Cause of death: cerebral hemorrhage due to second impact trauma. Medical timeline contradicting police custody records by 3 hours. Zach photographs documents with his phone, uploads to secure cloud storage, shares access with Judge Martinez's clerk. The clock, 36:08:42 remaining. Media interest intensifies. Reporter Jamie Watson's initial story triggers national attention. Civil rights attorney arrested by officer she previously exposed for misconduct. Camera crews stake out the precinct. Protesters gather with signs. Justice for Elise. End police corruption. Remember Marcus Johnson. The pressure builds. Captain Reynolds fields calls from the commissioner's office. Internal Affairs schedules interviews with precinct officers. Judge Martinez expedites discovery motions. Officer Maya Rodriguez requests transfer to another district. Request denied pending investigation. Sloan finds himself increasingly isolated. Fellow officers maintain distance. Conversations stop when he enters rooms. His partner calls in sick 2 days straight. At her office, Elise reviews Marcus's personal effects. Items returned after his death. Among them, his phone. Password protected. Untouched for 3 years. Sarah watches as Elise enters the code. 0517, Marcus's birthday. "He was recording that night," Elise explains, voice tight with emotion. "Always recording police interactions. I taught him that." The voice memo app opens. One file. Date stamped the night of his arrest. After the official arrest record ends. The clock. 2400 ka remaining. The encrypted files require 3 separate passwords held by 3 people who never met. Internal Affairs Officer Chen discovers 14 excessive force complaints against Sloan, all mysteriously resolved. The medical examiner who ruled on Marcus's death reopens the file. Judge Martinez's chambers transform into an evidence hub. Case files from 17 arrests cover his desk. Officer Sloan's personnel records, Marcus Johnson's medical reports, current charges against Elise. The pattern is undeniable, the judge tells his clerk. Same officer, same charges, same procedural violations. Internal Affairs Officer Chen sits across from him, recording device between them. We've interviewed 8 officers from the precinct so far. Most claim no knowledge. And the rest? Off-the-record comments, suspicions. Nothing concrete yet. Chen pauses. Except Officer Rodriguez. Martinez leans forward. She's talking? Scheduled for formal statement this afternoon. The interview room feels smaller than its dimensions. Maya Rodriguez sits rigidly, hands clasped on the metal table. The recording device blinks red. State your name and position for the record. Maya Rodriguez, Patrol Officer, 6th Precinct, badge number 4872. Chen sits opposite her. You were present the night of Marcus Johnson's arrest 3 years ago? Yes. Secondary responding officer. And what did you witness after the body cam footage ended? Maya's composure cracks. Her hands begin to tremble. Officer Sloan continued to interrogate the suspect. Interrogate how? Physical intimidation, verbal threats. Her voice drops. Then physical assault. You witnessed Officer Sloan assaulting a handcuffed suspect? Tears well in Maya's eyes. Yes. In the processing room. I heard impacts. Marcus crying out. Sloan telling him this would teach him respect. Did you intervene? The first tear falls. No, I did nothing. Did you report the incident? No. More tears now. I falsified my statement to match Sloan's. Said the suspect was combative. Said the injuries were from resisting arrest. Why are you coming forward now? Maya looks directly into the camera. Because Marcus Johnson died from those injuries. Because his sister deserves justice. Because I can't live with this anymore. Her tears fall on the sworn affidavit as she signs her name. Across town, intern Zach presents his findings to Ada Miller's supervisor, District Attorney Patricia Howard. These are serious allegations against one of our prosecutors, Howard says, reviewing the evidence of coordination between Miller and Sloan. Miller knew the pattern, Zach explains. The previous cases, the timeline discrepancies, the selective prosecution, he built his reputation on Sloan's arrests. Howard's expression hardens. And now he's potentially compromised our entire office. At the hospital, the medical examiner who certified Marcus Johnson's death reviews his original findings. New evidence provided by Internal Affairs shows custody timeline inconsistencies. The second impact occurred while he was in police custody, the examiner tells Officer Chen. Not before arrest as originally reported. You're certain? The brain imaging shows 2 distinct trauma events. Primary impact, then secondary hemorrhage hours later. He points to timestamps. This contradicts the official police timeline. The hospital records show Marcus's fatal brain hemorrhage resulted from a second impact hours after his arrest. Captain Reynolds sits alone in his office, watching the investigation unfold around him. Years of looking the other way. Years of protecting problem officers. The thin blue line now strangling his conscience. His phone rings. Judge Martinez's office. The judge requests your presence. Immediately. In the evidence room, forensic technicians re-examine the drugs allegedly found in Elise's car. Fingerprint analysis results appear on the computer screen. No prints matching the suspect, the technician notes. Only Officer Sloan's partial prints on the inner bag. The evidence technician uploads his findings. The report sits unread in ADA Miller's inbox. At the precinct, Sloan's isolation intensifies. His partner officially requests transfer. Other officers change direction in hallways to avoid him. The whispers follow him everywhere. They're turning on me, he complains to Miller by phone. "Keep it together," Miller hisses. "We just need to get through the preliminary hearing." But the foundation crumbles beneath them both. Maya Rodriguez's testimony, digital evidence contradicting official reports, medical findings challenging custody timeline. The case against Elise Johnson collapses hour by hour. Judge Martinez reads Maya's sworn statement in his chambers, the description of Marcus Johnson's assault while handcuffed, the cover-up, the falsified reports. He removes his glasses, pinching the bridge of his nose. Justice delayed is justice denied, but perhaps not forever. His clerk enters with breaking news. The medical examiner has revised Marcus Johnson's cause of death determination, homicide while in police custody. Martinez's decision forms instantly. He lifts his phone. "Get me the district attorney directly." The lab technician's revised report sits unread in the ADA's inbox. Officer Sloan's partner requests transfer to another unit. Judge Martinez's clerk schedules an emergency hearing. The emergency hearing lasts less than 20 minutes. Judge Martinez's ruling cuts through legal procedures with surgical precision. In light of substantial new evidence, this court orders the immediate release of Elise Johnson. All charges are suspended pending full investigation of Officer Derek Sloan and the circumstances surrounding this arrest. Elise stands composed as the courtroom erupts. Reporters rush for exits, racing to break the story. ADA Miller slumps at the prosecution table, career visibly crumbling. Outside the courthouse, Sarah Washington waits with the legal team. Their embrace speaks volumes, not celebration, determination. "Phase 1 complete," Sarah whispers. Elise nods. "Prepare for Phase 2. The media frenzy follows her down the courthouse steps, microphones thrust forward. Questions shouted over each other. "Ms. Johnson, will you sue the department? Was this retaliation for your brother's case? Do you believe Officer Sloan should face criminal charges?" Elise stops. The crowd quiets instantly. "I have no comment at this time. Justice requires patience and proper procedure, that's all." The restraint in her response carries more weight than any accusation could. At her office, the team assembles. 5 investigators, 3 paralegals, 2 digital forensic specialists. The evidence wall expands with each passing hour. "Tomorrow morning," Elise instructs, "we present everything." One investigator asks, "Are you sure you don't want to wait? Build the case further?" 3 years, Elise replies. "We've waited 3 years." That evening, Elise visits the cemetery alone. Marcus's headstone stands simple and elegant against the setting sun. His graduation photo embedded in granite. The date of death etched permanently. She kneels, placing fresh flowers. Placing, "Tomorrow," she whispers. Her first moment of vulnerability since the ordeal began. A single tear traces her cheek. Tomorrow it ends. Across town, Officer Sloan receives the call from Internal Affairs. "Administrative leave, effective immediately, badge and weapon surrendered pending investigation." His apartment walls close in around him. On the television, Elise Johnson's release plays on repeat. The reporter's voice cuts through his panic. "Sources inside the department suggest evidence tampering and potential criminal charges." ADA Miller's call goes straight to voicemail. At Elise's home, Sarah prepares the final evidence assembly. Marcus's phone connected to a secure computer. The voice recording from his final night extracted, enhanced, authenticated. His voice from beyond, preparing to testify. At Marcus's grave, Elise whispers, "Tomorrow, it ends." The sealed evidence from Marcus's case is finally opened after 3 years. Officer Sloan's partner requests formal witness protection before testifying. Courtroom 3B reaches capacity an hour before proceedings begin. National media outlets crowd the gallery. Civil rights activists, police accountability groups, department officials, a community seeking resolution. Judge Martinez enters. This court will now hear evidence regarding the arrest and detention of Elise Johnson and related matters concerning Officer Derek Sloan. Elise rises, immaculate in a tailored charcoal suit, no longer defendant but prosecutor. Your Honor, I request permission to present evidence of a pattern of misconduct, false arrest, evidence tampering, and ultimately, the unlawful death of Marcus Johnson. Martinez nods. Proceed, Counselor. Officer Sloan sits at the defense table, department attorney beside him looking increasingly uncomfortable. Captain Reynolds occupies a seat behind them, face drawn with the weight of complicity. Elise approaches the evidence table. The court will observe 3 categories of evidence: visual documentation, audio recordings, and documentary evidence including medical and digital forensics. The methodical dismantling begins. Clinical, precise, devastating. First exhibit, precinct security footage from my recent arrest. The courtroom screen displays high-definition video. Officer Sloan entering the evidence room at 10:42 p.m., removing a small bag from his pocket, placing it among Elise's belongings, the timestamp clearly visible. Second exhibit, the official evidence log. Elise displays the document. Note the timestamp, 11:43 p.m. 1 hour after the video shows the evidence already planted. Sloan shifts uncomfortably. His attorney scribbles notes. Third exhibit, security footage from multiple arrests by Officer Sloan over 3 years, each showing identical evidence handling discrepancies. The pattern emerges on screen. 17 cases. 17 instances of evidence appearing after suspects were already in custody. The visual evidence establishes clear tampering, Elise continues. Now, to the audio evidence. She produces a small digital recorder. This device recorded Officer Sloan during my detention, his own words, unaltered. The playback fills the silent courtroom. Your brother cried, you know, begged me to stop. Gasps ripple through the gallery. Sloan's attorney leans toward him urgently. Second audio exhibit, Officer Sloan's conversation with ADA Miller regarding fabricating stronger evidence. Their voices emerge clearly from the recording. We need something stronger than possession. Plant more evidence? Higher quantity? ADA Miller, seated in the gallery, blanches visibly. Third audio exhibit, Elise continues, her voice steady despite the emotional weight. Officer Maya Rodriguez's sworn testimony regarding Marcus Johnson's treatment after arrest. Maya's recorded statement plays, describing the assault on a handcuffed Marcus. Her tears audible as she details her own complicity in the cover-up. Judge Martinez's expression darkens with each revelation. Captain Reynolds stares at the floor, unable to watch. These audio recordings establish intent, pattern, and conspiracy, Elise states. Now to the documentary and medical evidence. Sarah Washington approaches with sealed evidence boxes, official stamps intact despite years in storage. First document, the medical examiner's revised report on Marcus Johnson's death. The projection displays official letterhead. Cause of death: cerebral hemorrhage resulting from second impact trauma sustained while in police custody. Second document, cell phone metadata showing Marcus Johnson's location during the time Officer Sloan claimed he was already processed and in holding. Timeline discrepancies highlighted in red. 2-hour gap between official processing time and actual location data. And finally, Elise says, her composure momentarily wavering, the most conclusive evidence. Sarah hands her a phone in an evidence bag. Marcus's phone. My brother, like many young black men, recorded all interactions with police, a precaution I taught him. Elise's voice catches slightly. This recording was made after his official arrest, after the body cam allegedly malfunctioned. The courtroom falls completely silent as Marcus Johnson's voice fills the space. Young, frightened, still alive. I'm already cuffed, sir. Please. Sloan's voice, unmistakable. Think you're smart? Getting your sister to make me look bad in court? Impact sounds. Marcus crying out in pain. Your fancy lawyer sister can't help you now. Another impact. Marcus's breathing becoming labored. Please, I can't. Something's wrong with my head. Sloan, maybe this teaches you some respect. The recording continues for agonizing minutes. The assault, the medical distress, Marcus's pleas for help growing weaker. Tears stream openly down Elisa's face, but her voice remains steady. This recording was authenticated by 3 independent audio forensic experts. Timestamp metadata confirms it occurred while my brother was in police custody, 2 hours after his official processing time. The medical examiner approaches the stand, points to brain imaging displayed on screen. The victim suffered an initial concussion during arrest, survivable. But this second trauma, he indicates the recording timeline, caused catastrophic hemorrhaging. The 2-impact combination proved fatal. The courtroom remains stunned into silence. Sloan stares straight ahead, color drained from his face. The evidence establishes beyond question, Elise concludes, that Officer Derek Sloan falsified reports, planted evidence, and committed assault resulting in the death of Marcus Johnson, then attempted identical tactics against me when I continued seeking justice for my brother. Judge Martinez surveys the courtroom. His gavel cracks like a gunshot in the silence. This court finds probable cause for immediate criminal proceedings against Officer Derek Sloan on charges of evidence tampering, false imprisonment, assault, and in the case of Marcus Johnson, homicide. He turns to the bailiff. Officer Sloan is remanded to custody immediately. No bail. As Sloan stands, stunned, the bailiff approaches with handcuffs, the same procedure Sloan performed countless times on others. The metal clicks around his wrists with finality. Captain Reynolds approaches the bench voluntarily. Your Honor, I wish to provide testimony regarding supervisory negligence and potential departmental conspiracy in covering these incidents. The system that protected Sloan now abandons him completely. In the gallery, other officers from the precinct watch their former colleague led away. Maya Rodriguez sits with tears streaming down her face. Relief, grief, atonement. District Attorney Howard rises. Your Honor, in light of this evidence, the state moves to dismiss all charges against Elise Johnson with prejudice. Furthermore, we request immediate review of all cases involving Officer Sloan, ADA Miller, and any potentially compromised convictions. Elise stands at the center of the storm she methodically created. 3 years of preparation, 3 years of patience, 3 years of purpose. Not revenge, justice. The courtroom falls silent as Marcus's voice plays from the recording. The medical examiner points to exact moment in footage when the fatal injury occurred. Judge Martinez uses one word as Sloan is taken into custody: murder. The formal dismissal hearing lasts barely 10 minutes. All charges against Elise Johnson dropped with prejudice. Official apology entered into court record. The justice system failed Marcus Johnson, Judge Martinez states. It nearly failed his sister as well. Today we begin the process of correction. Outside the courthouse, a different atmosphere than days before. No frantic questions shouted over each other. Instead, a respectful silence as Elise approaches the microphones. 3 years ago, my brother died in police custody. The system designed to protect him instead covered up his killing. Her voice carries without raising. Today, that same system finally acknowledged its failure. Reporters listen with unusual stillness. This isn't about one corrupt officer. This is about systems that protect corruption instead of people, about institutions that value preservation over justice. Behind her stand Maya Rodriguez, intern Zach, Sarah Washington, and others who chose truth over complicity. Marcus was studying to become an attorney because he believed in the possibility of justice, not its guarantee its possibility. That with enough courage and persistence, right can prevail over might. Today proves he wasn't wrong. Across town, the police commissioner holds his own press conference. The department in crisis. Public trust shattered. Effective immediately, we announce comprehensive reforms in evidence handling, officer misconduct investigation, and supervisory accountability. His prepared statement continues, but the damage control comes too late for many. The internal investigation expands rapidly. Captain Reynolds cooperates fully, providing documentation of systemic failures. His career effectively over, but his conscience beginning to heal. 17 cases under immediate review, the commissioner acknowledges, potentially dozens more requiring examination. Lives disrupted by false arrests, careers derailed by fabricated charges, families separated by fraudulent convictions, the ripple effects of corruption spreading outward for years. ADA Miller faces disbarment proceedings, 5 prosecutors under investigation for pattern suppression of exculpatory evidence. The district attorney's political ambitions collapse beneath the scandal. Officer Sloan's criminal trial date set. Multiple charges. Maximum penalties sought. No colleague steps forward in his defense. The blue wall crumbles when exposed to sufficient light. 3 weeks later, Howard University holds a special ceremony. The law school auditorium fills with students, faculty, and community members. Marcus Johnson's portrait displayed prominently on stage. The dean approaches the podium. Today we award posthumously the Juris Doctor degree that Marcus Johnson was pursuing at the time of his death. Elise rises to accept the diploma, her composure momentarily breaking as her fingers touch the embossed document her brother never lived to earn. Marcus believed that law should protect the vulnerable, not the powerful, she tells the assembled crowd. That justice delayed is not necessarily justice denied. In the front row, Maya Rodriguez watches with tears streaming freely. Her testimony against fellow officers ended her police career, but began her redemption. Next week, she starts coursework at this same law school. Intern Zach, now hired permanently by the new district attorney, sits nearby. His courage in exposing prosecutorial misconduct rewarded with a position in the newly formed Conviction Integrity Unit. Back at her office, Elise unveils the Marcus Johnson Justice Initiative. Its mission: identify and challenge similar patterns of misconduct nationwide. Already, requests for assistance flood in from across the country. Families seeking the same persistence, the same meticulous documentation, the same pathway to justice. The media portrays her as an overnight sensation. They miss the 3 years of methodical work, the careful evidence gathering, the network building, the strategic patience. Justice isn't about revenge, she explains to her expanding team. It's about restoration, about truth, about ensuring patterns don't continue unchallenged. The police department announces sweeping training reforms, body cameras that cannot be manually deactivated, evidence handling protocols with multiple verification requirements, independent civilian oversight with actual authority. Marcus's case becomes required curriculum at the police academy, not as a legal footnote but as a human story. The consequences of corruption illustrated in a life cut short. At the cemetery, Elise places her brother's law degree beside his headstone. Fresh flowers beneath spring sunshine. "It's done," she whispers, not with triumph, but with quiet certainty. On her office wall hang 2 framed documents side by side, her law degree and Marcus's. A promise fulfilled, a legacy continued. Her phone rings with a Washington, D.C. area code, the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, requesting consultation on nationwide police accountability standards. The system that failed her brother now seeks her guidance to repair itself. In the precinct, new leadership emphasizes transparency and accountability. Maya's testimony becomes training material on moral courage and the cost of silence. Captain Reynolds, resigned from the force, volunteers with community reconciliation efforts. Atonement through action rather than words. Officer Sloan awaits trial in the same justice system he manipulated for years. No special treatment, no professional courtesy, only the process he denied to others. The final press conference focuses not on the past, but the future. Elise Johnson stands flanked by reform advocates, legal experts, and community leaders. True justice requires both courage to stand against corruption and faith in proper procedure, she concludes. The system can work when people of conscience refuse to remain silent, when evidence matters more than power, when we remember that no badge, no title, no position places anyone above the law. The following day, her office begins work on the next case. Another pattern, another department, another family seeking what Marcus finally received. Justice delayed, but not denied. The law school auditorium stands as Marcus's degree is awarded. The new police training program begins with Marcus's story. Elise places her brother's law degree beside her own, then opens a new case file. If this story of justice, perseverance, and accountability moved you, there's more where that came from. PAP Stories brings you powerful narratives that expose truth and challenge corrupt systems. Did you feel the tension as Elise meticulously built her case? The satisfaction when justice finally prevailed? That's what we deliver with every story. Like this video to help others discover Marcus and Elise's powerful journey. Hit subscribe to never miss our weekly releases of compelling voice stories that shine light on injustice and celebrate those brave enough to stand against it.